Welcome, everybody, to episode 183 of The China Show. It's so good to have you here. This is a breaking episode. There's some new news coming out of China. Of course, some very important news, but we've got a lot to cover on the show. So what do you say we jump right into it?
Let's do it.
Okay, we're going to saunter right into it and jump right into it with what's new. This is where we talk about what's new, specifically with regards to China. Okay, so the first thing we're going to have to acknowledge here is the fact that Chinese former Premier Li Keqiang is dead.
Yes.
Probably our favorite politician / leader, most honest Chinese leader, most friendly Chinese leader.
We'll get into it in a little while, but he was great.
Yeah.
For a CCP official, he was top tier. He was S tier.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's might be some shenanigans going on. We don't know.
Yeah.
But what we do know is that this is a startling trend within China, and it kind of ties into a lot of things that have been happening.
It's very suspicious since, he's kind of at odds and loggerheads with Xi Jinping that he would just disappear. It's kind of suspicious that he would die, suddenly have a heart attack.
Oh, what do you mean, Mr. Let's cooperate with the rest of the world and open up our country so that we can further develop? Didn't get along with Xi Jinping? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Anyway, before we get into that, let's start out with a couple of funny little clips and things that are new in China. And
I don't know if this is funny. What's wrong with you?
Okay.
This is obnoxious.
Now, there's this thing. What's it called? Moxibustion?
Moxibustion.
Yeah, moxibustion, whatever it is.
Cupping.
And this is an interesting thing. And I had it done. In China. Not this. This is absurd.
I can't look at this.
It's absurd.
I left the audio in, by the way.
Okay, so let's take a look. Basically, it's a kind of traditional Chinese medicine. And how it works is they put some kind of alcohol inside of cups, usually. These like circular bowl-looking cups. They set it on fire and then quickly stick it on your back.
Yeah.
And it like sucks, creates a vacuum and it sucks your skin up into it and it creates bruises and it kind of forces your body to like circulate blood or whatever, and it's apparently like helps you.
Yeah. It doesn't do anything, but it hurts you. It hurts you good.
I'm going to dispute you on that because it has helped me in the past.
Yep, that's called anecdotal evidence.
Yes, but it's helped me, and that's my anecdote. Is that
you're right.
Okay, and it's correct because...
Let's poll the audience. Does cupping work?
Well, I'll tell you how it worked for me is twice when I had like heavy fever, very bad flu in China, I went to get it done, and it's like kind of shocks your system. And fever broke next day. I was fine both times.
Any doctor would say that's absolute nonsense, right?
But it's just my experience.
Yeah, no, I'm just letting you know.
It's like you say,
I recovered.
My computer didn't turn on, so I kicked it and it went on. Yeah. You did it twice and it worked. So you're just like, well, obviously it's not the correct way to do it, but it did something. You know what I mean?
What? I can't believe that my body healed itself. It's almost like every disease or illness I get is terminal.
Yes. I'm not stupid. Of course, that normally would happen anyway. But this has kickstarted it. Yeah. So anyway, this is really taking the piss, though. Let's take a look, right?
Taking the horn. Taking the bulls by the horn.
It's got like a freaking... I don't even know what horn that is. It's a massive horn. Okay, which he's using to do the cupping. Okay.
I'd like to think this is parody, but it's real. I mean,
no, it's not.
Yeah.
He's obviously got something in some of these pots to make it special, because you can see inside that like glass water cooler.
Well, from my scientific perspective, this is very, very. This is gonna work. Look at this.
Yeah.
You can see the bad energy leaving her body.
Yeah, see the...
Oh, what's that gross water in there?
It's obviously TCM, traditional Chinese medicine.
That's what came out of her.
Yeah.
It's diarrhea.
Oh, no. No.
It's a little too high for that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Thank goodness. Get that seal break. He's got to break the seal. Mm-hmm. This cannot be good for you at this level.
Not at this level. I got a picture of myself. My whole back is completely...
We put it in our ADV China video.
Oh, we did, yeah.
We had the exact same debate back then.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, get it over with.
Premier Li Keqiang dies. This is what we show first.
Okay.
What are we doing?
Trying to make it less morbid,
okay? What have we done?
Just gotta make it less morbid. All right. I mean,
this is why people watch us over mainstream media.
Of course, yeah. We show you the real China. Okay.
this common practice that you find everywhere.
Well, I mean,
Cupping is ubiquitous.
is it though? Is it like, I know that for instance in the clinics and in the hospitals, because my wife's a doctor and I used to train doctors in China, and when I used to go to the clinics and the hospitals, all of them offer acupuncture and they offer this like in the clinic.
It's ubiquitous.
But I mean, everywhere in the world?
No, in China.
Yeah, in China. In China. Yeah, exactly. I thought you meant ubiquitous as in like all over the world. Because the thing is, it's that normal that your average clinic, think about it, if you went to go visit your GP or something, you can go and get like an antibiotic prescription, but you can also in the same, like just right in the room next door, you can get cupping or you can get acupuncture, that thing where they burn like a cigar looking thing. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And
they light, and that's what creates the suction.
No. The cigar-looking thing's different.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
It's like a cigar-looking thing, and it smells real bad, and they like...
It's that Chinese herb.
Hover it around and like stick it on you, and it hurts.
Yeah, because that really pulls the bad energy out.
Whatever it is.
By the way, the cupping worked for you. I just wanted to ask you what your source was.
Oh, well, yeah. I've got my source right here. Okay, here it comes.
My source is that I made it the f*** up.
No, but in all honesty, it works.
Come on, you walked into that one.
Yeah, exactly.
All
anyway.
right, the poll is finished with a 66%. Does cupping work? No.
Yeah. Try it before you knock it.
When I lose the polls, somehow it's like, oh, you got to try it. And then when you win the polls, it's like, oh, see? Even if it's 1%.
That's correct. Yeah. That's the proper way to respond to these kind of situations. Anyway, another way to respond to annoying street sellers apparently is, okay, look, I know there was a clip a while ago that really went viral in America of a guy spraying a homeless person with a hose, and everyone was like, how dare you do that? It's terrible. It's inhumane. Yeah. Well, in China, I mean, it's...
I'd leave that up to the judge.
Yeah, absolutely. They leave that to the judge. But
you know what I think? You know what, actually?
What?
It's weird. Like, when I hear people, like, get going on and on about that back then, I heard something else.
Oh, I know what you heard.
Yeah.
You must have heard, like... Anyway, let's not get sidetracked here. This is, you've got sellers on the side of the road selling vegetables. This is very common. Okay, in China you see it everywhere. It's these little, they do these little farming things.
It's not nice to spray homeless people.
No,
I just need an excuse to use that soundbite. I was craving it.
Exactly. So let's see what happens in China though. Is you got these sellers. What do? Just hit them with fire hoses. That's what you do.
That's what they do.
Yep.
Well, sometimes they beat them, so this is better.
Oh no, yeah, that's true. But I mean,
we've seen them beat them.
Oh yeah,
I've seen them kicking old ladies in Guangzhou.
Oh yeah, brutal. Of course, we've done a whole thing on that.
Going for it.
Yeah.
Give them a nice shower.
You get quite far.
Very true.
You threw this in there. All right, guys. We promise we'll get serious in a minute. Okay.
We got to get our willies out.
Yeah. Okay. Get it out. Okay. So this, by the way, it was titled VR blacksmithing.
Yes.
So
we're gonna talk over this.
Are we gonna? Music. Yeah, we're gonna get copyright
we just gotta make
claimed.
Sure you keep pausing it and saying, "Well, if you're not watching right now, you're watching."
It's like Lord of the Rings is gonna be like.
Yeah. Well, what he's doing is he's forging a sword, right? I'm trying to talk over the dialogue here. He's forging a sword.
I'll get us out of here for a second. Puts his hammer down. Okay, anyway.
Now that is very marginally related to China, but there was some communism in there, hammer and sickle. If you were listening at home, as you say, then what you would have seen is a VR demo of somebody hitting a hammer against a sword, and then as he puts his blacksmith hammer down, he puts it over a sickle by accident. Then it goes to play the Soviet national anthem, currently the Russian national anthem, and then he smacks it away.
Yeah.
With comedic relief.
Yeah, that was very appropriate to smack it away like that. Yeah. So again, guys, we have Chinese state media putting out propaganda where they try to mock the Western world by pretending to be, I don't know, politicians and stuff.
Do you guys remember House of Cuts? We have actually a soundbite that got famous after
It's preposterous.
Remember that?
They started with this thing, and I wish I had done a throwback here, but you guys don't have enough time for this crap. Basically, they have these like snarky British accented Chinese state media presenters.
Yes.
and they always pretend to be like American and British politicians or MI6, CIA, like in joking about how, I mean, I guess the snark is about like how China is actually not that bad, but those countries do the same thing or something. Right, that's usually the idea.
The idea
is always bad, like the most cringe shit you've ever seen.
We're gonna watch a bit?
Yeah, a new one.
Okay.
Well, what's so big?
A big win. We've detected Edward Snowden's.
Wait, hang on. I'm gonna have to get us out of this. So
Can you play that again?
Sure.
But the way this is written, they should use ChatGPT.
Yeah.
I'm not even joking. Like at this point,
yeah,
this is bad.
Oh well, let's see.
What's so big?
A big win. We've detected Edward Snowden's.
Okay.
Is what?
Well, no,
Edward Snowden's what?
No, multiple Edward Snowdens.
Oh, interesting. I thought it was his possessive item.
It could just be like, we've detected Edward Snowden's. Is that like a new way to say Benedict Arnold or something? You know what I mean? We've detected. Anyway, let's see.
Oh, shit.
In Russia?
I mean, 2 of our employees who are ready to defect with valuable secrets in hand.
I get it.
I didn't know that our insider threat network worked so well, given leaks have made my life like hell.
No, it's a whole new story. I've authorized their arrest, and here are some tasty snippets of their conversation.
What could that be?
Leaking our mass surveillance programs. Leaks are inevitable. The next Edward Snowden, gracing the front page of The Guardian.
Exactly. It's time to teach them a lesson.
Maybe it's time to give myself a Huawei phone.
That's what makes our job second to none. Anywhere, for anyone.
What was that supposed to mean?
What? I wish I could have a poll where people could type in what the hell that was.
Yeah.
That
usually
was
these
gibberish.
Usually these are really funny.
Yeah,
This was just dumb.
It's shockingly bad.
Yeah, that was just dumb.
Demote. I
Yes.
demote you. Chinese propaganda. I did make the wild claim that Chinese propaganda has been getting better, but that's terrible.
No, absolutely.
And
terrible.
that's top tier. That's new China TV.
Yeah, exactly.
Xinhua.
Xinhua. Well, I guess we got to stop beating around the bush here, guys, and get into the main topic.
Yeah,
of course.
all right.
Yeah, all right. So
Enough fun.
yeah. Oh, don't worry. We've got fun stuff coming. We got to get the serious out the way first, though, of course. So we got to do soft power. What?
Well, actually, before that, we have something to do.
Oh, what do we have to do? Oh, do we have to shout out a sponsor, perhaps?
We should shout out a sponsor, someone that supports us very well.
Absolutely. So, guys, please bear with us while we shout out our epic sponsor. Most important thing on a bike trip, beer. And the most important thing for a healthy lifestyle is a healthy diet.
And that's why I'm proud to say this video is brought to you by Athletic Greens. I take AG1 by Athletic Greens literally every day, and originally I wanted to give it a try because I wanted better gut health, I wanted increased energy, I wanted immune system support, and I hate taking all these like 10 pounds of vitamins and pills and all these vegetables and stuff. It's so much more convenient to take AG1 in the morning before I even drink my coffee. It makes me feel amazing because I know I just did something really good for my body. It's got all the vitamins I need. It's got everything that my body craves throughout the day. Taking AG1 is so easy. It's the easiest thing you can do under a minute. It's 1 scoop of powder mixed with water once a day, and it's been part of millions of mornings since 2010. If you're looking for an easier way to take supplements, Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. Go to athleticgreens.com/ADV. That's athleticgreens.com/ADV. Check it out.
Thank you very much, AG1. It is a good product. We can suggest it. We have it ourselves.
True dat. We love it. We love it so much. And
You
it's
sound very convincing.
no, it keeps us super. No, I'm serious. It keeps us super healthy. We love
Absolutely.
AG1. They've been a reliable sponsor for us and something that we actually like to use as well.
Correct.
If you don't have enough time to eat 10 pounds of vegetables every day, 1 scoop of AG1, quickest, healthiest thing you can do in under 10 seconds.
Yep, get all your
Super fast.
vitamins and minerals
Amazing.
and whatnot.
We love it.
It's fantastic. Anyway, it's time for us to move on, guys, to our main topic, or main segment of the show, of course, which is Soft Power Hour, where we talk about how China is trying to change your mind. And let's be honest, it is just the part of the show which is the main focus.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, you finally admitted it.
Well, sometimes
Just the main feature.
it's, yeah.
Weirdly today, it's kind of is and not.
I'd say what's coming after soft power might be the main feature today, but let's just do this because it's important. We have to say farewell to Chinese Premier Li Keqiang. And I know how exciting Chinese politics is for everyone out there. I know that you're chomping at the bit to find out the intricacies of the Communist Party and the Politburos. And, what is it that they're actually drinking out those little cups when they sit down in those rows? And these boring... No, I'm kidding. But Similk is very well versed in all this stuff. He's going to do his best. You are going to do your best to make it entertaining.
I'm not going to make it entertaining. I'm going to make it quick and factual and very important.
Yes, that's what I mean. Yes. And not in a disrespectful way. Because, look, at the end of the day, this poor guy kicked the bucket and he's a very important person and for China. And unfortunately, was probably the best hope for China moving forward.
Absolutely.
Anyway, take it away.
So Li Keqiang was second in command to Xi Jinping, right? And actually, he was the favorite. So you remember Hu Jintao, the previous leader before Xi Jinping? Yeah. He was the favorite to take over from that. And the reason is he was great at mobilizing China's economy. What do we know about China? Modern China is that it grew super fast, right? After the kind of, as you say, the boot was taken off the head of the Chinese people.
And they were allowed to engage with the rest of the world,
with the rest of the world and attract foreign investment and start their own business as private enterprise.
Yeah.
Li Keqiang was a big supporter of this, and he was a big supporter of reform. And one of his biggest features was transparency. Li Keqiang was famous for being honest about what was happening in China, and that went against all of the grain within the CCP. Because what the CCP cares about first and foremost is to retain and hold on to power.
Yeah. Facades.
So, when he died, he's, by the way, supposed to be in power for 2 more years, but was forced to retire. I wonder what happened there.
Yeah.
It was kind of a shock. And a lot of people within China, I would say the majority of people within China like Li Keqiang a whole great deal.
Yes.
And that's because of his reformist policies, right? Now, there's something really important that I wanted to point out, and maybe you can play some of this.
Okay.
The reason Li Keqiang is so important is because China, under his rule, or at least his secondary guidance, could have been a very, very different place. It could have been a wildly different place. It could have been a country that we were still in, and it could have been a country that was still positively interfacing with the rest of the world, because that is what he wanted.
Yes.
He was very in favor of pro-U.S. relations. He was very friendly with the U.S. He was very friendly with any country that was offering China economic opportunities in both directions.
Yeah.
He was even controversial enough in some ways to, within China and Chinese tradition, to be able to listen to people when they were talking about societal issues, even such things that China will refuse to talk about, like LGBT issues, right?
Sure.
This guy was way more progressive than anyone in the party, right? And he was really high up in the ladder.
Yeah.
You could even say that a lot of China's modern success could be attributed to him carrying dung-type policies throughout the era, right? So this is one of my favorite quotes from him, and this just shows you the transparency that Chinese people
I'll get
loved.
us out of there. What did he have to say?
You can read it.
Okay, some expressed their gratitude for Mr. Li's honesty when, at a news conference in 2020, he noted that China might be the world's second biggest economy, but there were 600 million people with a monthly income of $150. It was viewed as poking a hole in Mr. Xi's claim of beating poverty, which is true.
So the whole thing was Xi Jinping wanted to be, I've told people about this for a long time, but every Chinese leader needs to be known for something. Chairman Mao was known for creating the new China, the Communist Party of China, right? Deng Xiaoping was known for reform and opening, right?
Yes.
You had Jiang Zemin, who is known for stamping out religious groups like Falun Gong and stuff, and also known for continuing reform and opening even at a more aggressive pace, right? Continuing reform and opening. Everyone had like their thing, right? Hu Jintao is always seen as a leader where he didn't necessarily have a massive thing. He has things like on paper and stuff, but he kind of just kept things going. And Xi Jinping didn't want to be that guy.
He wanted to have something.
He's got to have the thing. Yeah. He needs the thing.
And his thing was lifting 800 million people out of poverty or whatever it was. And everybody keeps going on about it, especially like China shills and people that are sycophants for the CCP will constantly tell you, but China raised all these people out of poverty. But
because that's the mandate from the government's propaganda bureau.
But it's not true. That, like, if you live in China and you travel around China, people are still in poverty. A huge percentage of the population outside of the big cities are living in abject poverty. And he didn't try to hide that fact, as you can see, because $150 a month, he said 600 million people, you know, that's a huge chunk of the population. I mean, from my own experience and your experience, it's kind of a half and half situation, I'd say. Half of the country's still pretty poor. You know, just get out of the cities and everyone's living in kind of like medieval times almost.
It's bad.
Yeah. It's very bad. But he was transparent about it, you know?
Yeah, and that's how you reform. That's how you continue these reforms, right? And he was famous for something very, very interesting. Do you know what he said?
What?
Well, go back to him real quick before we talk about what, you know, how this could be a little more nefarious.
Sure.
Li Keqiang was famous for using his something he was called the Li Keqiang Index, and that flew in the face of how China measures its GDP and its economic success.
Right.
The only thing that keeps China relevant on the world stage is that it's the fastest grower in the world, right? It's the fastest attractor of investment.
GDP keeps going up and the economy keeps soaring and blah,
you gotta
blah,
have
blah.
it. You gotta have it if you're going to be the Chinese government. It's the only thing that keeps them afloat. It's the only thing that keeps the people satiated.
Yeah.
Because the people were promised, hey, if I hand over all of my rights, at least I can get some money.
Yeah,
right?
At least prosperity.
Prosperity. If you don't deliver on that last part, then what are you doing?
Yeah.
Right. What is the role of the government at that point? You have like one of the worst, most overbearing, like 194 out of 197 in the world ranked for Freedom Index. Right. Sure. If you're in that situation, you're probably going to look at your government and be like, what am I doing living here, right?
Yeah.
So Li Keqiang thought, it's better to be transparent about this, and if the government's going to lie about GDP figures, I'm going to come up with my own index. So he used things like electricity consumption, and he used railway cargo volume and loans just distributed by banks instead of the top official figures that were put out by the whatever metrics department. And that was really important because that was his way of still being able to have his finger on the pulse of what was actually happening within the economy of China.
Sure.
Using his figures. And this is crazy. But using his figures, it is speculated that China's growth, their big boom of growth, actually stopped in 2013.
Wow.
So 10 years ago, right?
That's a long time.
And ever since then, and that's when Xi Jinping took over, ever since then, we're looking at inflated numbers and false figures.
It makes sense.
Just pumping it up, right? And we've seen all kinds of crazy studies about, the population's only half based on satellite data or whatever. But the be-all and the end-all is that he was the shining beacon, and I don't ever want to propel any authoritarian sort of official to a status that they don't deserve, but he
was the best of the worst.
Yeah, flying in the face of everything within the party and what evil it is comprised of. He was great.
Yeah, he was the best of the worst. Yeah.
Now, it's been kind of rough recently, because if we look at, you have situations like this. This was speculated as to be a nefarious thing. Hu Jintao was removed.
Completely.
He was the last leader of China. I mean, this is the utmost powerful position.
Yeah, exactly.
He was in the opposing party within the Communist Party to Xi Jinping.
Yeah. So he gave Li Keqiang a pat on the shoulder. That could have been a shoulder pat of death over there.
There's a lot of speculation you could have.
This wolf warrior guy, as we all know, Zhao Lijian. In fact, he's part of one of our sound bites over here. Okay, he's that famous that he made it onto our show as a soundbite. He also got completely kind of pushed out of the way too.
Yeah, what does he do now? He draws markers in the ocean.
Yeah, he goes and paints. They have markers that basically say how many meters or whatever. He goes and he fills in the markers paint to refresh them. That's what he's doing now.
Yeah. That's
from being like the top.
They called it a lateral promotion. I think that was a demotion, dude.
Lateral promotion from being the most powerful spokesperson to the outside world.
He was a foreign ministry spokesman.
Yeah, he was the face of China to going to paint the markers. It's basically if you were given a job, mile markers along the highway, to go there and fill in the numbers with paint. That's what he's doing now. That's what he does.
Yes.
Yeah. He probably enjoys it more than this, to be honest.
Yeah.
I would.
Yeah.
Chill out and paint some markers, Anyway, he got...
he was moved.
Xi Jinping has been brutal. He's used this anti-corruption campaign and tiger hunts, as they call them in China, to get rid of any opposition. So when you've got someone like Li Keqiang who's telling the truth about China, we can only speculate that perhaps his heart attack was the result of, perhaps...
Positive.
it was perhaps sped up a little
I mean,
bit.
we don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know.
That's just speculation. As I said, speculate. You can speculate.
You can speculate, but you could also just say that there's a trend, right?
Yes.
And we can, in whether it was nefarious or not, the trend, it still ends up with the same outcome.
Yeah, like
right?
Foreign Minister Keqiang also.
Yeah, talk about it. I mean, pause it there.
Yeah.
This is not the foreign ministry spokesman. This is the
minister.
foreign minister.
Yeah.
He's actually buddy with Xi Jinping's clan.
Yeah.
He was brought back, right?
Yeah.
And foreign minister Keqiang has now been removed. We don't even know where he is.
No, nobody knows where he is. There was all this scandal about him having a mistress in America or whatever, this nonsense. But he was just taken out. A bunch of top generals have just been completely disappeared too and demoted or taken out. Xi Jinping's kind of on the warpath, getting rid of anyone that just maybe says the wrong thing or, doesn't completely agree with him. And who better to get rid of than Li Keqiang? Is probably his biggest enemy, public enemy.
Yeah, in a way.
It's the only person...
Ideologically opposite.
Yeah, it's the only person who's contradicting him in public.
Yes. Yeah.
All right? So...
Because he's right.
Yeah, he's right.
You know what I mean?
That's why, the elite nuclear force leaders of the PLA have been purged and replaced. So that's why it's easy to speculate and say, look, sure, it's probably a natural heart attack, but at the same time, it would be very beneficial for Xi Jinping for him to have a natural heart attack.
Oh yeah. I mean, this only plays out in the favor, right? There's a lot of weird. It's too weird, like the way that he operates, and it's almost like, like I said, if it's speculative, it doesn't even matter. The outcome's the same.
Yes,
the power's been removed.
Yes, so now there's nobody to oppose Xi Jinping's brutal, march forward.
No, and we can only guess who's next.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But this is kind of unheard of. Like, this rule of tyranny is wildly different than the previous leaders of China.
Yeah.
They were tyrannical. This is next level.
It's next level. Xi Jinping's really a dirtbag,
Anyway,
we're going to move on to funnier things. Okay, more lighthearted, you might say. And we'd like to remind everyone here that we have a show on Monday called Xiaobanhou. It's a VIP show, and we'd like to show you what you missed because it's a lot of fun. It was actually all about us. We're talking about we're talking about ourselves. We promise we're not going to show you a family album and be like,
we're going to show you a family album.
But we're not going to be like, this is me when I was 2 years old. That's me when I was 2 years old.
I did look like Harry Potter at one point.
Yeah, he did.
Every photo of me when I'm around 12 or 13 years old, I look very dark.
Eat a pretzel. You got to put that sign. You got to throw horns, bro.
Put your samurai sword away. Anyway.
Swim meet is like you take a shank of lamb and you like swim it around, you like whip it out.
Favorite guilty pleasure music?
My guilty pleasure must honestly be probably some like anime soundtrack.
Probably not so much now, but I still do. I'll put it on around Christmas. Hanson.
Yeah, so it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we did a whole episode about who we are. We did favorites. We did like would you rathers. We did all kinds of stuff like that.
Yeah, it's not something we'd normally do, but
it was great.
Yeah, the audience voted for it because if you're part of the show, you get to vote on the topics, of course. So we had a lot of fun. It was great fun. Hopefully we can do more episodes like that. Everyone had fun, I think.
The whole show is very democratic, but this next episode that you guys voted on, and I'll give you a little spoiler. You guys, the Xiaobanhous, you voted for a crazy, ridiculous products on the Chinese internet, and we did a part one of that before. And
that was ridiculous. It had like
insane
sex toys for dogs and stuff.
Yeah, it was outlandish.
Well,
stuff.
Anyway, that's for Monday. So please join us if you have the means, guys, over at patreon.com/ADV podcast. We'd very much appreciate it. And hopefully we'll see you there.
Yeah, please do. It's the best way to support us, and you get 4 episodes a month.
Yeah, and you can also access all the previous episodes, of which there are many, many, many.
Yes.
Okay, it's time for us to move to Wumao Corner, guys.
Oh, and also, if you want to see me grind on a rail with aggressive inline skates, you're definitely going to want to be there.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of interesting stuff.
Back to the grind.
Anyway. The real grind. Okay, Wumao Corner. Now, guys, there's this annoying thing that's happened recently, which kind of flies in the face, I'd say, just flies in the face of status quo. And that is the governor of California in America, Gavin Newsom, went to China.
Yeah.
And remember, last week we were like, hopefully he's going there to tell them to clean up their act, you know?
We were kind of one of those. It was in the situation.
No, but we knew that wasn't the case. We knew that wouldn't be.
But both of us were hopeful.
Yeah.
And that's why we didn't say too much. We just basically said, what are you doing going there? Because here's the deal. And I just got to paint the picture here.
Yeah.
You guys, if you're not American, you'll probably even know this, and Americans will definitely know this.
Yeah.
You will know that America is incredibly divided, always has been, between
Sure.
party lines. You have Republicans and Democrats,
Donkeys and horses or whatever.
Donkeys and elephants.
Yeah, sorry.
You have sub-parties, you have local congressmen, you have all kinds of stuff, right?
Yeah.
But one thing that America has been working very, very hard to get on board with, which is impossible about any issue,
Yeah.
is the threat of the Chinese government. And that's just because no side can deny the sheer devastation that they've caused the world and America and are currently actively involved in destroying America. So it's a pretty bipartisan thing. You'll see Democrats and Republicans getting on board making bipartisan laws and acts. Depending on, it doesn't even matter who the president is. Biden's doing it. The Republicans in the House are doing it. The Democrats are getting on board. But for some reason, this dude decided to act like a diplomat, which he's not.
No, he's a governor of a state. He's not a foreign diplomat.
No.
He's not part of that.
And went to China and did the whole shebang. And again, we wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt, so we waited.
Yeah.
And we said, why are you going there? China's not necessarily the world leader of green technology. In fact, they're the world's biggest polluter in CO2 emitter.
Exactly. Anyway, so he went there basically, and we're going to show you a couple of the highlights. Is he went and he met Xi Jinping and talked about, like, Governor Gavin Newsom made it clear to Chinese leaders that California will remain a stable, strong, and reliable partner, particularly on low-carbon green growth. It's kind of interesting because, you know, California, they allow the BYD and the other various Chinese electric vehicles to roam freely and map and film everything, you know, to do their trial runs around. They also have a lot of Chinese spies being caught in the military there.
Yeah.
And that sort of thing. I'm just saying.
I mean, there's so many things you could talk about.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, if that kind of stuff is happening in your state, like, let's say, like, Chinese espionage is happening left and right, and then you're like, you know, we're going to be a strong, stable, and reliable partner. You keep sending them spies. You know what I mean? It seems a little sus.
Let's actively engage under the guise of climate change or whatever you want to do. With a state that has forced labor, that has the worst human rights record of any country save for North Korea.
Yeah.
That is currently actively involved in international espionage and trying to disrupt the fabric of society in your country.
Yes.
Has operated police stations, illegal police stations, to spy on individuals in your state.
Yes.
And you're going to go talk to that person.
Correct.
What world are we living in?
At the exact same time that he's schmoozing around with top Chinese officials, Chinese jets are buzzing, like American bombers.
At the time.
A B-52 is being buzzed, 10 feet away or 5 feet? 10 feet, which is very close, in international airspace.
Yeah.
You know, this is while you're, like, having your Baijiu dinners with Xi Jinping's entourage or whatever, the Chinese PLAF, you know, the People's Liberation Army, the PLAF Air Force.
I always love saying PLAF.
Yeah, exactly. The PLAF are buzzing your aircraft very dangerously in international airspace, which they shouldn't be doing. It just seems like a big conflict of interest, right? And, you know, there's a lot of this kind of stuff going on over there.
Yeah, hold on, pause it. I just wanted to say, while he's doing this, our current president is signing deals with the Philippines to make sure that they will be defended against China, because China's been aggressive.
Sure.
Meeting up and getting Japan on board.
Yes.
And meeting up with Australia.
Yes.
To make sure that they are going to cooperate with the military drones, which would be used against the Chinese threat if China was to kick stuff up in the Pacific, right? While that's happening on a state level, California is going over to China to meet with their leader.
Yeah, their leader. It's so, like, talk about not solidarity.
I mean, here's the deal, and this is what I keep hearing, and this, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe you'll understand this from a non-American perspective.
Sure.
I was talking to some people about this, and they were like, well, it makes sense. He's going to try to run for president.
Okay.
Right? How does that make sense? You have an issue where almost every American is on board, right?
Yeah.
To understand the threat of the Chinese government, right?
Yeah.
And he does the opposite of the one thing that people agree on. How is that favorable for running for president?
I mean, it's really kind of ridiculous. It's like as if, I don't know, you got a bad parenting situation, right? And the father, or say the mother, is like, no, you can't have cookies because it's bad for you. And don't open the pantry. You're not allowed in there.
Yeah.
But then the father comes along and says, that's fine. Just if you need something out of there, you just ask me. I'll go grab it for you. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because that's what's happening. Because, you know, you got all the solidarity from the government of America, etc. Being like, listen, we're here.
Everyone's on board.
And then California's governor is going in there and saying like, we're a partner. Let's just help each other out. Hey, you want some military secrets? You know where to come, you know, that kind of thing. It seems
that's obviously speculative.
Obviously, I'm just making that part.
But it's what it looks like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what people are going to see it as, right?
Anyway, so we've got to continue with this by talking about Land Rover. Is it Land Rover or Range Rover? Is it Range Rover?
I believe, yeah.
No, it's Land Rover. Is it? Is it Range Rover? I always get them confused. Anyway, you know what I definitely get confused is a BYD and Land Rover. Is it Land Rover or Range Rover?
Land Rover.
It's Land Rover. Right. Okay. So, as we all know, there's something called a Land Rover Defender. It's kind of like their signature model, and it's been around forever, right? Everyone knows it. It's iconic. And they came up with this kind of a iffy design choice, if you ask me, but this kind of modern take on the Land Rover. Is it Land Rover? Sorry.
Land Rover.
One of them Rovers, okay?
I thought the little one.
And you know what? There's another company just called Rover.
Yes.
So you get Range Rover, Land Rover, and Rover.
I don't think Rover exists anymore.
I know, but
they did.
Yeah, you can find them.
You can find them. They're real.
Anyway, so this Rover over here.
Yes.
Came up with this design. So what does BYD do? You know, BYD is burn your driveway.
Bribe your dealer. I don't know.
Anyway, we all know BYD is making big headway as far as EVs and stuff are concerned. They came out with their new U8.
Oh, you mean the D-Dong?
It's
D-Dong.
Yeah, D-Dong, yeah.
D-Dong.
No, it doesn't matter.
Anyway.
Donkey Dong. Anyway, this thing over here is
that officially called the Donkey Dong?
No, it's called the Wang Yang or something.
Oh, the Yang Wang.
It's called the U8.
Okay.
Now, guys, does that not just look like a Defender?
It looks like a bad one.
It's a bad one where it's like as if someone went to AutoZone and bought like aftermarket, tail lights.
It's like when you're 18 and you get your first paycheck and you're like, how do I make my car different for $50?
Yeah, exactly. So here's the real original. Here's the knockoff, right? They're the same shape, the same dimensions, the same everything.
Just like
what?
D-Dong. Dan Dong.
Oh, yes.
Court of Dandong.
Sorry about that. Anyway,
it's key.
Now, there's a reason why I'm telling you all this, because it's kind of important, okay? Because there's a couple of things about this vehicle. And the first thing that, again, I just got to show you, again, the original. This is the two-door Defender, which looks kind of nice up here.
I think that looks awesome.
This is not an advert for Range Rover.
I'd have one of those if I could afford one.
Exactly. Well, they're very
two-door
cool.
one.
Yeah, they're very cool.
Looks epic.
If you're into off-roading, they're very good. Fantastic reliability. British cars have always had the highest, you know what I mean? Like, it'll never be in the shop, ever. If you want a bulletproof reliability, you know where to go. Anyway, that's a joke. I have to show you this all because it's just such a blatant knockoff that BYD has made with their
Looks
U8.
like it does.
Yeah. No, it absolutely is. Like, immediately when I saw it, I was like, that is just...
The media was calling it, like, Land Rover-esque.
Yes, Land Rover-esque.
Yeah, or Defender-esque.
Yeah, Defender-esque. Yeah, of course. Now, there's Gavin Newsom in a knockoff Land Rover, okay?
Look at how bad they did with all the raking.
Oh, yeah, those things, yeah. Those wheels are terrible. But here's the important part, okay? Let's watch it just a little bit. I'll get out of here for a second, okay? I mean, that's just a knockoff Land Rover.
Certainly looks like one.
Yeah.
California Governor Gavin Newsom paid a visit to the Shenzhen bus group on Huanghe Depot and test drove BYD's Yangwang U8 on October 24th.
Okay, first of all, I just had to point something out here. You know the music they're playing in the back? This is from Shenzhen Daily, by the way, which...
State media.
Yeah. I've actually been in the Shenzhen Daily newspaper many times, and I know a lot of the staff there. It's like the English language newspaper news show for Shenzhen.
Government media.
Yeah, it's state media. I want everybody to just look past the politics, look past all this nonsense, and look at the sky for a minute there. Okay? This Gavin Newsom is in China because he's talking green renewable energies and, you know, how China can somehow help the world. But look at the sky.
What? I mean, all you have to do is know that when you go outside where he lives,
Yeah.
he can open his eyes and there's blue skies and he goes, dang, we're doing a good job, right?
Yeah.
We've come a long way since the 70s, right?
Yeah.
And he goes there and then he managed to still say, we're going to partner with China who's figured out green technology.
Yeah, I know.
Open your eyes.
This is the crazy part. Anyway, so it's
Open
in
your
this,
nostrils.
Yeah, it's in this knockoff vehicle. Okay. So I just wanted to, let's continue with it. This has been a big propaganda win, by the way, for China that he's over there. They're using him in everything. And there's something else I'd like you to pay attention to.
Yeah.
Okay.
We promise we'll make this fun.
Yeah, is the music that they're using. Listen.
Leap in the technology, next level leap. And I did not expect or appreciate this technology.
You're taking this back to Sacramento?
No, I want two of them.
You want two of them?
Yeah.
Hotel California.
It's state media put an instrumental version of Hotel California
On Spanish guitar.
because he's the governor of California.
China, you absolute dummy.
Yeah, I mean, seriously.
What are you doing?
It's as if a Chinese diplomat came and they put everybody was kung fu fighting or something in the background. You know what I mean? It's so on the nose and ridiculous.
Gosh, no way. Wow.
Anyway, Gavin Newsom apparently thinks that this knockoff of a Land Rover is such great next level technology that he wants two of them. But there's something he doesn't know about it. Okay?
You know what I want to do, though?
What?
I'm sorry. I want to do some half-pipe vert riding on the back of his hair, because that's an epic,
Come on.
epic
He's
pipe.
a typical swish Californian
that's
surfer.
true.
He's got to have that, man. I mean, he's a handsome guy. He's a good-looking guy. Let's move forward.
Acceleration of climate change is very real, and it's very raw and emotional because places, lifestyles, traditions are being impacted. And we need to focus on solutions.
I mean, that is so stupid. Once you hear it.
Kidding me?
No, that's Chinese state media did that. Okay?
Wow.
They did it. Oh, by the way, you know where this clip was embedded was in a car, one of those car scoop or something, one of those car review websites.
Okay.
Everybody is now jumping on how great this U8 vehicle is because Gavin Newsom said it's the next leap in technology.
By sitting in it and looking at it?
Yeah, and he's like,
Ooh,
he
look.
wants two of them.
Ooh, look.
Yeah.
I want two of those two-door Defenders, I'll tell you what.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll take one.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't afford
Hey,
it.
we got to keep going a little bit here, okay? So it's like he's going on about all this typical politician speech.
We're all in a rush to transition to a low-carbon green future. That's what you do best. You move fast, you move at scale, and you take technology and you test them, and we're able to share and compare and contrast.
I want to show you inside.
Yeah, let's take a look.
Yeah, this is
what Jason just bought.
Yes.
Okay, so he's getting in. So again, I just wanted to reiterate because it's important to reiterate. So I put the side-by-side pictures there.
I mean, we'll leave it up to you, but I say it's more than esque. That's more than esque.
It's literally like copy my homework,
Yeah.
but like change a few things so that the teacher doesn't know.
And make it way worse.
Yeah.
At least they made it worse.
Yeah, but it's the same. Let's be honest. They saw this and they're like, we want to make a kind of an off-road SUV.
Yes.
Who makes the best off-road SUVs? Well, there we go. Land Rover, one of them Rovers. So let's go take that and let's make a copy. And that's what they did, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, since he likes this so much, we thought there are a couple other things he might enjoy. So let's take a look.
How you feeling?
No, I want two of them.
How you feeling?
No, I want two of them.
How you feeling?
No, I want two of them.
How you feeling?
No, I want two of them.
How you feeling?
No, I want two of them.
How you feeling?
No, I want two of them.
How you feeling?
No, I want two of them.
How you feeling?
No, I want two of them.
How you feeling?
No, I want two of them.
The next most
Okay.
Oh, man.
Sorry, okay, just having a bit of fun there. But hey, if you're going to get knockoffs, China's got plenty of those.
Yeah, for sure.
But
I particularly like Space Boys 3.
Yeah, Space Boy 3 is excellent.
It's woody.
Now, here's the thing that I don't think Gavin Newsom knows, is that car makes pollution.
Does it now?
Yes.
Oh, so you're telling me it's not a full EV?
No, it's not.
Interesting. So it burns gas.
Well, I went to, of course, because it's so. There's a couple of things about this car which I'm going to debunk right now. First of all, it's not a clean EV vehicle. Okay, it's a hybrid EV thingy. You know, those, what do they call it? Hybrid energy vehicle.
So it has a generator.
It has a generator in it. Okay, so it's got a battery, but that battery can only go about 100 miles.
Yeah, 180 kilometers. They said.
Yeah, 180 kilometers. But then it has an actual petrol engine inside of
Gas
it, a 2 liter, 2 liter 4-cylinder, gas turbo engine, which generates power for the battery. Okay,
unlimited power.
Yeah, so
perpetual
it's just
energy.
a gas car that still uses gas and still puts out pollution.
So
Gavin
why is
Newsom.
this so?
I don't think he realized that because he probably thought it was EV. It's just in EV mode. I don't think he realized it's a gas car.
Because you can't have it in EV mode. So he's like, oh, it's EV.
Yeah, let's take a look. I went to a couple of these, like car sites, and they were all this.
Thing is the range. The extended range electric vehicle trim comes up with a 49.05 kilowatt-hour LFP blade battery. With this battery, the car has a 180 kilometer CLTC range. Along with that, the car has a 2-liter internal combustion engine, ICE, that works as a generator for the battery.
The U8 is a hybrid range extended vehicle, which means it uses 2.0-liter engine to create power for the battery.
The creative liberty you took here.
Yes. Now, there's
nice
an
art piece.
There's another thing, by the way, and Top Gear, everyone's saying that this car is amazing because it floats. It's an amphibious car, right? So I was reading this and I'm like, hey, that's impressive. Okay, if it can really, I'll give
Take it to the lake.
I'll be like, hey, listen, okay, so it's a knockoff. It's clearly a knockoff of another brand. But if they've innovated it and they've made it so that it floats,
I'll fish out of it in the river.
Yeah, I mean, then that's cool. At least they've done something. They've increased something. So then they have all these demonstrations. If you go to any car website, they have these very cinematic, like this, showing them driving it into the water and how incredible it is. Kind of looks like it's going to sink to me, but
oh well.
Okay, but they've got this whole it really does look like it's going to sink, doesn't it?
It does.
It's this is their own official media press.
I mean, it is
stuff.
floating though.
Yeah, it's a floating vehicle. So here's a picture of it being tested in the wild. It looks a little less stable to me when it's actually in the wild. It really looks like it's going to float. But the important thing is, guys, you've read the articles, right?
This testing area.
Yeah,
looks like
shit. Yeah.
Why is your guy in a canoe?
Yeah, I know, right? Anyway, guys, here's the thing. You've read the articles and you're like, holy shit, this thing's got great numbers, right? Horsepower numbers, range numbers. It can float in water. It's like next level. And you walk away from that article like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you think,
Top Gear had that in their headline, right?
Yeah, and then you're like, holy shit, BYD's really got it sorted out. What an amazing company. We should start treating them, differently. We should say that they're a leader rather than a follower.
Yeah.
Okay? That's what you'd walk away. That's what they want you to walk away from.
Yeah.
But let me tell you something about this floating. BYD themselves, in the fine print, note that the emergency flotation feature is a passively triggered emergency function designed for flash floods or off-road water obstacles. Of course, this is very important in China. Flash flooding does happen a lot.
Oh yeah, the drainage is so bad.
Yeah.
Infrastructure so
and
bad.
It advises users against attempting it without due cause. Once triggered, the vehicle needs to be returned to the factory for a thorough check. So in other words, it's just a once-off temporary thing that you can do in an emergency.
And then you have to get it reset or taken for inspection.
This is why propaganda is so effective.
Sure.
Because from me reading those articles, I thought that this was an amphibious car.
Yeah.
I thought that this is a car that you could drive into water and float
toy.
across. Yeah, just float it across.
Like a boat.
But it's not. It can float for 30 minutes max before it sinks or whatever.
Is that what it said?
Yeah, it's a 30-minute float. So it can float for 30 minutes in an emergency, like if you're in a flooded road or something like that, right? And if you are in that situation, it must be returned. It must be recalled to the factory to be thoroughly taken apart and fixed and whatever.
Or at least inspected.
Yeah,
we don't know
exactly.
what they do.
Well, pretty
just
much.
Look at it.
Yeah,
we don't know.
Absolutely.
It's
well,
China,
I mean,
bro.
it's any car that gets submerged in water like that's pretty much had it, right? If it leaks, if there's ingress into the wiring or anything, it's done.
It's marketing, is what you're saying.
Yeah. It's a bunch of BS propaganda marketing. Okay. Any off-road vehicle, if you've done off-roading, is capable of floating in the water and going over a freaking big dam with snorkels
So obviously,
and everything.
there's stuff in here built for this.
Yeah,
but
this
like,
is it's made to float. It's like waterproofing, you know,
Right, whatever it is,
it's
yeah.
got what I'm trying to say is that if you read the article versus reality, it's two different things. Okay, so I wanted to just put that out there. This is from BYD themselves.
Right.
Okay. So anyway, there's Newsom in the knockoff.
How's it feel?
Did you hear how he said fast earlier?
Yeah.
It sounds like death metal.
Yeah,
It's
so
like
I think we
fast.
fixed it. So anyway, I wanted to show you just a snippet of one of the car websites. If you were to, you know, take a look, see how they're now using Gavin Newsom as their advertising for this. Say, I'll take two, and California governor, whatever, finds BYD's Yang Wang U8 absolutely incredible, you know, and next level technology and all that kind of nonsense, right? Dude, it runs off a petrol engine, okay? It's got a generator inside of it. If you're all about there for green, sustainable energy, you shouldn't be endorsing that.
You know what's the biggest slap in the face?
What?
Is that his own state in California, they make a lot of EVs, SUV EVs.
Yeah, like Rivian.
All those ones.
Lucid.
Yeah. They make these cars, and they're made in his own state over there.
They're better.
They're better, and they don't run off gas.
Yeah.
So you've endorsed a competitive country's product, knockoff product, and you are saying that you'll take two, and you're not necessarily saying, well, you know, if we didn't have, this is how I would have played it.
Yeah.
For some reason, I had to do it. I'd be like, oh, that's nice, but you know, we have our own homegrown version that that runs off of, it doesn't need gas, and we've already figured this out. You know, maybe someday you'll catch it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Is it not a big slap in the face to his own homegrown auto manufacturers?
Absolutely, because be
an American, by the way.
Also, just endorsing intellectual property theft like that, because let's be honest, that isn't an independent design. That is a Land Rover Defender. That has been copied.
Looks like a bad one.
Yeah, it's a bad copy of a Land Rover Defender. So I'm pretty sure if they tried to sell this BYD in a developed country, they would be sued.
Yeah, so they're not going to be released here, and I suspect that's the case.
That's probably the reason.
I don't think that they would win in the UK or in the US if they were to bring it over because of how close it looks.
Yeah, it's like you could probably take a measuring tape and a ruler and a...
I mean, you remember
whatever.
Landwind?
Yes.
Right? Didn't they win, though?
Initially, but I think they were forced to stop selling overseas, because they did this as well.
Right.
Anyway, so we thought we'd just remind old Gavin Newsom a little bit about what he's talking about here, because the problem is he's approaching this from a point of view, if you watch all the news articles, as we're going to work together because we've got a lot to learn from China, is basically what he's saying, because China, they do things fast and, they have all this technology. So that's kind of where he's approaching it from, right? But we have to remind him that China is currently the world's biggest polluter. And the one thing they're doing fast is building more coal power plants, right?
Yeah.
You know this place, right?
I lived here.
Yeah.
This is Baotou in northern China. I lived there. It is ungodly polluted because of the steel mills.
Correct.
And the coal plants. It's insane. There is a fine particulate that just comes down in your windows. It's insane. But they do run a lot of this renewable technology, but it doesn't help with the pollution level. It's apocalyptic.
Yeah, it's because they just keep producing more coal power plants.
It's just like when you're faced with this and you're trying to make partnerships with a country that's increasing this kind of output.
Yeah.
Where's the logic in that? It almost feels like,
Where are you in that picture?
That's me right in front of the steel mills.
Oh, there you are.
Yeah.
You're the guy over there.
Yes, on the left there. These are my good buddies I used to ride with all the time. We stood standing right in front of what you just saw.
Yeah.
And this is a huge outputter of these pollutants. So the governor of what I want to say is the governor of California is going over to talk about climate change with a country that is doing this. And let's just look at this. I think this is a very important graph. New coal power projects in China in the first half of 2023.
First half, yeah.
So this is the first half of the year. Look at this map. There's commissions that are coming. These are future plans. They're ones that are already made. These are coal plants that China is currently building while the U.S. And most of the developed world is removing them.
They're shutting them down.
Reducing them and removing their CO2 output and reducing their pollution.
This is the problem. You'll find, somebody like Newsom will go there and they'll agree on, hey, we need to, as a world or whatever, reduce our carbon footprint. He's going to fly back and he's going to say, okay, we're going to ban all V8 motors on the road or something. Yes. Or we're going to shut down all of our coal factory plants.
Whatever,
He's going to do some crap like that and hold his side of the bargain.
Yep.
And China's going to say, let's build more pollution.
Because they do.
Create more.
They do. This is not speculation. This is not some weird thing. This is the thing that gets me pissed off the most.
Yeah.
Because they do one thing. They get all these countries to fall into this fold. They hold these huge economic forums. They do all this crazy stuff. And then they do the opposite of what they say and expect everyone else to do. It's insane.
Yeah,
And nobody does anything about it.
They don't call them out. They don't actually acknowledge
No, they go have agreements.
Yeah. They
And
don't
tea.
acknowledge that this is true.
They sip tea.
Yeah, and then Gavin Newsom will come in and say, you guys do it well and fast or whatever. As he always does.
Yeah. I'll probably say it again.
He might. I feel like he would. But
Read this.
It says practically all, 99.9% of China's 1.4 billion people still live in areas where the annual average particulate pollution level exceeds the WHO guidelines.
All of China lives in the maximum amount allowed by the WHO.
Yeah.
Or exceeding the maximum.
Sure. That's all of them.
Everyone. And we can attest to this.
Yeah, of
Every
course.
single place in China is polluted, whether it's the water or the air.
Yeah, some places during certain parts of the year look lovely, right? Some places have gotten better, but in general, it's still very, very, very bad, right? CO2 emissions by country. China, this is the share of the world. China has 29.18% of CO2 emissions.
It's
the number one.
Double America.
Double America.
It's double. And we're not in a situation where you can say
almost
per
4
capita
times India.
this or whatever if you talk about how many people there are. We're living in 2023.
Yeah.
And that means that we do things not like the old times.
Sure.
We're not living in coal-powered London anymore. We don't get to say, oh, we had our chance. That's
Industrial
not how this
Revolution.
works. The Earth doesn't care about that. If you believe in what's happening to the world is bad, if you believe in climate change and global warming and CO2 as the cause of that, then you can't ignore this and say, well, it's only fair. It's not.
And I mean, look, India has a larger population than China, and they only put out 7.09. It's like a quarter of what China's doing.
Half, yeah.
Yeah. No, it's not.
Sorry, a quarter, I'm sorry.
It's a quarter.
You're right. You're absolutely right. I was looking at the U.S.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought that's what you said, sorry.
Sure. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Yeah.
So anyway, back to what he said. Divorce is not an option. The only way we can solve the climate crisis is to continue our long-standing cooperation with China, cooperating with a country that's not doing it. It's not doing it.
You're cooperating with the biggest challenge to climate, the climate crisis.
The only country that's not doing anything.
Yeah, it's the only country that's actively making it worse on purpose.
Now, I know some people are going to come in here.
Yeah.
You know what they're going to say?
What?
They're going to say, well, China is doing this now, and they're increasing their CO2 and increasing their coal output and stuff, but they have a final goal, and they're trying to get renewables, and they're trying to make all this stuff. So I found a beautiful graph from the BBC, which is going to be coming up soon, to show you what the projection at their current rate will look like.
Okay, that's fantastic.
Because we can shut everyone up then.
Yeah, all these people, they're going to reach carbon net neutral. Are those dead fish?
Those are dead fish.
That makes sense.
And actually, 90% of China's groundwater is to the point where it can't be used.
Yeah, it can't even be used for like farming or industrial stuff anymore.
Consumption.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, of course, you got Gavin Newsom on the Great Wall, and he's like, the Great Wall is proof that doing big things take time.
You mean the huge wall that did nothing, and it was a huge, massive failure and waste of state resources and manpower and deaths? Bad quote. Bad quote, buddy.
Bad analogy, yeah.
Bad analogy.
Yeah. And it requires working together. We're continuing to build our partnership with China to tackle the climate crisis together. China is the climate crisis.
Yeah, what are you doing?
You are now, what are you partnering with the climate crisis to tackle itself? I
can fix them.
Yeah, Jesus,
You know what I mean?
Yeah, Jesus, like me.
It's insane.
Yeah.
It's like...
Yeah, anyway, it's time to move beyond the walls of the past and to the bridges of the 21st century. Now, you see, this is all...
This is such... You know what I hear there?
What?
I hear something.
Well, oh yeah, you hear. You know what I hear is the this.
Hong, hong, hong. To hell with you.
Yeah, exactly.
I actually retract that.
Yeah. Oh, you retract that? Are you sure?
Yeah,
okay.
I retract it.
All right, you retract it. You withdraw it. You mean
I withdraw that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I withdraw.
Honorable Matisa.
Because you know what he said there? And I don't mean to interrupt you. I just want to go back to that because I think we've missed the hypocrisy of this.
Right.
The Great Wall is proof that that doing big things takes time and it requires working together, right? So that's what that proves, right?
Okay.
We're continuing to build our partnership with China to tackle the climate crisis together. It's time to move beyond the walls of the past. So why'd you just use a wall that keeps people out as an analogy?
I think he was like
dumbass.
Wall. He's like wall.
It's the we should do this thing.
Don't be a wallflower.
We should build this wall and then don't use it because that's kind of what the Great Wall was.
Yeah, drink a Harvey Wallbanger, you know?
Yeah.
Exactly. Go to Walmart, you know? I don't know what else you could say. Like, it's pretty off the wall, you know?
He's off the wall.
Guys, what he's saying is wonderful diplomacy, okay? And I'm not against what he's trying to do as far as
diplomacy.
About being a diplomat is concerned, okay?
He's not a
because
diplomat.
China doesn't do this. China's the opposite. They're like, you are bad, and put like rude cartoons in their state media or whatever. The thing is, you cannot be diplomatic in the face of what China's doing in this way. You cannot be seen as a weak and kowtowing, because that's what this is.
That's what it looks like.
You're like, let's work together. As long as you walk all over us, it's fine.
We'll
But
do
we won't
what we're
do it.
supposed to.
Yeah, but you can do whatever you
don't have
want.
to.
Yeah, and we'll not hold you to account. We'll just keep being friendly and come and say how great your knockoff vehicles are. You know what I mean?
It looks bad standing on the Great Wall being like, let's overcome this wall.
Sure.
It's not. That's a very diplomatic thing to say with a country that's not being diplomatic back.
No, they're not. What are they doing to help?
Operating spies in your state.
Yes, exactly. Here we go. China's building more than half of the world's new coal power plants.
But they're supposed to be the world's leader in green technology and cutting down.
Well, the thing is, they're building tons of like solar panels and wind turbines at the same time, and that way they
I'll
can.
get to that.
Yeah, they can
I'll
kind
get
of
to
like pretend they can divert people's attention. See, China's doubling down on coal despite its green ambitions. These are just some headlines that we're reading.
By the way, you know that Baotou footage
headlines.
that we showed?
Yeah.
That runoff and all that pollution was from creating all of this green technology, by the way.
Sure.
It's poisoning the local people. The cancer rates are through the roof.
Yeah, of course.
It's
'cause
insane.
In order to create solar panels and all the electronics that are needed, there's a lot of chemicals that are used. There's a lot of very bad, destructive practices. Fast. Yes, they're very fast at that. A time lapse showing the spread of pollution over the city of Beijing. This was from 2022, I believe.
I can't remember what year, but it's just, I just wanted people to get a little perspective of what we saw in China.
Yeah.
This
What
would
we
happen to me in
experienced.
Baotou quite often.
Yeah.
And it's just, imagine walking around in that.
Yeah.
You live in that, right?
Yeah.
And 2 million people a year in China die of pollution-related illness.
Yeah.
2 million people a year.
Yeah, it's
How
crazy.
many people in America are dying of pollution-related illnesses? I'll tell you
Not
what,
many.
it's not 2 million people a year.
No, it's not. So
Let's look at this. And I
Okay.
just think this is so important, and bear with me with the graphs, but look at the trends in U.S. greenhouse gas emissions, 1990 to 2020. It's down. It's on a downward trend. In fact, it's lower than where we started in 1990.
Yeah, it's lower than 1990 by quite a fair margin.
We, and I don't like to speak as we, but as America, if we're going to speak like that, have done our part to reduce greenhouse emissions.
Dude, the whole developed world has been doing this.
That's what I'm saying.
You know, what is it? Dutch farmers can't even
Yep.
use their equipment anymore because it's polluting or whatever.
Yes.
Like, it's gone overboard. The Greta Thunbergs of the world and stuff out there have basically neutered the rest of the world, the developed world, the only part of the world that cares about these things, apparently. You know, and they respond because they're like responsible and they think, yes, we should do something. But it's a bit extreme. They do all of this in China, and other developing countries are like, nah, you know.
Particularly China.
Yeah, of course. They're like, look at you, you stupid idiots. Look at you. So, what about China, though?
China, and I thought this is really important.
Yeah.
So we can look at where they're going, which is up.
Yes.
Their greenhouse gases and their CO2 is gone up, right? But let's look at this.
Yeah.
Their prediction is that we will make so much renewable technology that it will offset all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
So there's this big boom of renewable technology. Let's look at this. The prediction based on current policies and action does not bring it anywhere near where that goes. It barely even starts to go down in 2030. And that's 8 years from now, right?
So it's just going to keep going up and up and up and up and destroying the world more and more and more and more.
So where are we here? I mean, you can believe whatever fantasy you want, but that's even saying that everything works out.
Yeah.
That's even saying that all of this solar and renewable
carbon net neutral and all this crap.
All this stuff is real.
Yeah.
And guess what?
It's
just
not.
like the housing bubble in China. I can tell you it's not.
No. A huge majority of the green technologies are just a facade and they're fake. Why do you think they have to build? Why do they have to build so many coal power plants? If those mountains of solar panels that you see, or the big wind turbines were actually working, surely they wouldn't have to double down on building more coal power. Surely that stuff would be actually contributing to the power grid and they'd be able to cut back, actually.
You think?
No, it's just terrible. And that is because a lot of it is very inefficient, or there's a lot of corruption involved. It's very shoddy. It's very poor quality. It's fake. Doesn't matter, whatever. But it's not good stuff. Yeah, so Gavin Newsom's barking up the frickin' wrong tree.
China continues to rely heavily on coal. Look at the output of coal. Look at the usage of coal.
Yeah, and that's only up to 2015.
And it goes
It's way worse.
up.
Way worse now.
Up.
Yeah.
It's not a reduction.
No.
It's an increase.
It's been exponentially year on year, more and more. You know what I mean? And you think that the pollution's coming down, but it's not.
No.
Because you'll see these pictures, we cleaned up Beijing, blue skies in Beijing.
This cloud
sometimes.
seeding stuff,
Exactly. But then if you read the actual data, the CO2 emissions and the pollution has gone up. It's gone up year on year. It's worse. China continues to rely heavily on coal, So we all know that already.
Yeah, I just wanted some nice little visuals for people.
Sure.
To understand the reality of this situation here.
Yeah, it's tough because with an opaque country like China, the media that you see coming out of China is very controlled. So you see all the happy green fields and the blue skies and stuff from state media. But look, when Gavin Newsom went to drive that knockoff vehicle, look at what the sky actually looked like, because they can't script that. They can't censor that.
You can't script the world.
No, you can't script a live visit.
Yeah.
So all you got to do is grin and bear and say, oh, no, it's just fog or something, if you question.
But you look at it.
Yeah, but it's definitely not fog. But that's the reality of China, is they will put out, because they're very controlled and censored when it comes to not only their media, but all of the streamers and live streamers and stuff within China. If they're showing anything bad, they get shut down.
Yes.
And they know it's in their best interest not to show bad things. Yeah. So they don't. They'll go and film on a good day, or they'll go and, avoid the dirty stuff or whatever. We used to do it as well.
I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, and hopefully he just wanted this to be a friendly visit and maybe smooth things over. Let's just say that is the case.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, that's the reality of the situation.
Yeah.
We don't need to keep going on this.
Okay,
this can go on forever and ever.
Yeah,
and
we
ever,
could
but
keep going on
water,
about the pollution and the nonsense that's going on in China. The end result is Gavin Newsom, you're not watching this, but if anyone in his office or anyone who knows him is watching this, please wake him up to the reality, to the fact that China is in no way a role model or somebody to look up to or some country to take notes from when it comes to green renewable energy. And again, just doing something a lot doesn't mean you're good at it. Okay? China can pour as much resources as they want into creating solar panels and wind turbines and stuff. Doesn't mean they're doing a good job. They're actually creating a huge amount of pollution, making those renewable energy, green pollution, whatever you want to call them things. And on top of that, the car that you like so much that you want to of pollutes the air.
Yeah, I guess they didn't get the memo.
No. And on top of that, when I was living in California, it was really sucky to have to be very stuck with those strict smog rules.
Yeah.
But I learned to respect it because I realized it was for the greater good.
Sure.
Because... Okay.
But they can do a lot of things fast.
Yeah, exactly. They can do a lot of things fast. But, what I was trying to say is when I lived in California, I could understand. You're living in paradise. You got blue skies.
Sure.
The climate is nice. And so you have to sacrifice, straight pipes and, taking off your catalytic converter and all that
we
stuff.
We can enjoy now.
Yeah, exactly. But
not that we do that,
yeah, but
guys.
you realize you sacrifice it for the greater good. Yes. Okay? I get it. But why are you not holding China to that same standard? Why aren't you going to China and saying, look at your skies, bro. In California, we sorted that out, bro. We'll tell you what to do.
Yeah.
We're not going to come and kowtow to you and say oh, you're so good at doing things. Let's work together. Should be the other way around.
Again, I think the best way to end this is to say I don't like seeing things like this because it almost seems like this absolute insane conspiracy theory about how like everything's already been predetermined.
Sure.
It just looks so real because you can't look at that visit and be like, what the hell happened?
Sure.
It's insane.
Yeah, it is. Anyway, guys, that's the end of our main show. We're going to move on to our Q&A now, which is called Yamcha. This is the part where we answer your questions and you question our answers. And how it works is it stays up for the weekend. You can watch it live, but on Monday we cut it out of the show. Yes. Time to loosen the tie. It's Friday after all. You guys ready to have a nice, rip-roaring, relaxing weekend?
Woo! Harry Tick.